everyone. So excited to be on. Do you want me to just jump right into my story?
Yes, tell us who you are, where you're from, how you found this business, what it's done for you, and then we'll jump right into the KPI stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm Saray. I'm a triple. I've been in the business for 3 years now. I started this business, actually, I became a customer first. I was a customer back in like 2013, did the wraps, and then I did the wraps again, like through my loyal customer account. And it's funny because I was interviewed in another Zoom and I explained this part of it, but I pretty much ignored this one girl who sold me the wraps, and I just didn't. I asked her all the questions. She showed all the bonuses. She had been to conference. She promoted a triple really, really fast. So I had seen her success story, but I didn't believe it. So I gave her every excuse under the sun. I told her my phone didn't work, so I couldn't get her messages. She told me to text her, and I was like, wow, she's really bold. And I couldn't really understand the whole concept. But then my circumstances changed. I had my daughter and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I was already going to be a stay-at-home mom. So I started cleaning offices and I was doing medical coding and billing from home because it allowed me to kind of create my own schedule that way. But then I got pregnant, I was pregnant and I had started this business when she was 3 months old. Fortunately, since I started this business as part-time, I was able to stop cleaning and doing medical coding and billing. And then I just focused on this business. Then during my pregnancy, which was great because who wants to clean offices while having a big belly? So I stayed home. It allowed me to create a full-time schedule as well. So I promoted to Emerald. And then I lost Emerald. So then 6 months later, after having my son, I ended up getting Diamond back and earning a bonus. So then that allowed me to fully stay at home because it was allowing me to bring the income that I needed. I stayed at Diamond for a year, you guys. And biggest reason why is because I didn't really have an upline, and I just thought this was Diamond was it. I was getting a good paycheck. So I was like, this is what just needs to happen. I'm doing great. My team is doing great. I stayed at Diamond for an entire year. And then during that entire year, there was a portion of a month that I pushed for double and I missed it by one order. I miscalculated and eSuite ran over and I missed double by 157 BVs. So that January, I was like, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. I wasn't meant to promote double this month. So a couple months later is when we did like a kind of like a everybody just did a push all together, and we just grew our teams, grew our minds, and just really pushed for double in January. I promoted double at conference at Party Block on Friday night with my team in Florida, and then which was amazing because it was like probably one of the first times that I've met some of the girls on the team, my Emerald and some of the Rubies. So it was really exciting to be surrounded with them. And they also saw like how I was hustling and they got excited too. So as soon as we left conference, we promoted to triple in May of this past year. But that month in between, like my Diamond went double. So there were so many promotions between then. And that's pretty much my story in a nutshell. Just a mom, been married 7 years, had both kiddos. My daughter's 3 and my son is 2. So I have my hands full. So the KPIs is like my jam just because I have 2 kiddos at home. I'm involved in a lot of other things as well. Like I have my spiritual volunteer work and everything. So there was so much stuff that I had already that when the KPIs came out, I didn't think that it was going to be for me because it seemed overwhelming, but it actually allowed me to do so much more with my time. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this topic.
Okay, I am so excited. So I love in your story really quick though that you talked about how you heard about this business years and years ago, and then you said no, pretty much. You said yes to the products and like nah to the business, but then you said your situation changed. And so that's what I want so many of y'all to understand is that the people who are telling you no now are saying no for now. They're not saying no forever because they may have a daughter however long in the future and then or son or whatever, and they want to stay home. Like what happened to her? And so then that situation changed and it was like, wow, actually, this might be something that I want to do. And it's a seed that was planted years before that, that she finally said yes to because the timing changed. Okay. So I want you to think back to whenever you first heard about this business, and you didn't probably say yes at first either. And whether your time span between saying no and saying yes was as big as hers or not, you didn't say yes right away either. So I want you to give the people who are telling you no now a little bit of grace, and let them just realize that they have things going on in their life that may be hindering them from seeing the potential in this business. And it's our job to keep putting that out there, to keep showing them that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do this. You know, this is going to be for you, whether you're a mom or not. Whenever you become a mom, this would be a great avenue for you to be able to stay at home with your kids and all of that good stuff. So I just love that you talked about that part, because I think that that's something that needs to be talked about more, is that people, you know, don't say yes right away. So, okay, let's talk about KPI. Will you just kind of go into it for a second and just talk about, you know, what is a KPI? What does it stand for? I talked about it a little bit, and I actually have mine pulled up on my eSuite really quick so I can share my screen while you talk about it to make it a little bit easier. So just for a second, and guys, this is in your document library on eSuite. So if you don't know what the heck that we're talking about, go to your eSuite, go to document library. It's a tab at the top. Download this, and you can either print it out, you can draw it out. I know Office Max and Staples, like my printer doesn't work at home, so I go there and print stuff off, you know, whatever. Make it work and print out a ton of them at once so that you can have this for a while. But anyways, okay, tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, so KPIs are key performance indicators, like Morgan mentioned. If you guys know, like there are a lot of businesses that provide these KPIs, the trackers, as well as like the actual tasks as well. Because the KPIs have these steps for you to be able to run your business as smooth as possible. So there's 10 tasks that you can complete. There is between posting and showing about samples, there is like posting before and after pictures, working both Instagram and Facebook. So there are like big successful companies that have these key performance indicators, which is funny because my husband, he works for a tracking company. And when I told him KPIs and I was like talking about it, and I was like talking about it on Zooms and doing trainings, he's like, "Are you talking about key performance indicators?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I do those too." So big companies use these tasks because they're simple. They just are straight to the point and are like, if you're very green and you need that structure, like it's just amazing, like because you just have them and you just go through every single day to figure out which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. So if you have been lacking in something in your business, key performance indicators, the KPIs, are going to help you kind of determine where you need the most help with. And then the upline KPI tracker that Morgan just shared allows your upline to have a one-on-one meeting with you. And then you go through, and then it kind of puts you out in the open as far as like how committed you are to the business, because as you're talking to your upline about it, or if you're talking to your downline about it, you're going to see what parts you're not completing, and they're going to see that too. So it's all part of growth, because you're going to be able to kind of see what you need help with, what's easier for you, what's not easy for you. And for me, I thought I was doing all the things all the time, but I felt like it was all the time. Like I felt like I was kind of like running my business throughout the entire day kind of thing. So with the daily task list, it was easier for me to complete my daily tasks during the day because I felt like there was just a lot more structure. It was just showing me exactly where I needed to kind of focus a little bit more on what things I could do ahead of time as well.
Perfect. Okay, so you mentioned to me whenever we were talking before this that you and your team kind of get together once a week, maybe. I forget what you said, but to get some of this stuff set up for the week. So it's kind of like a power hour, but like a planning power hour. So
Yeah.
I would love to start doing something like that. Like y'all, if you're on my team, y'all know like I'm all about some planning. I'm all about some working smarter, not harder. I have all my posts written out for the entire week already. So I want to know, what are some things that you do with your team? What day do you do it? How long does it last? Like how do y'all lead that? And I'm asking for myself, like, tell me what to do so I can do this. And like, what should we expect? And what types of things are you able to set up beforehand so that it takes less time throughout the week?
So the things that we do is Sunday night, we have a pre-planning content Zoom. So Sunday night at 9 p.m., we have the Zoom online. It's for an hour. And usually what we do is we will do, I'm looking at the KPI tracker right now. We'll provide like number 5, which is like share someone's corporate approved before and after. So I have like a thread on my team page, both in English and Spanish. And then I go through and we post things that we would post on our social media that is just easier to prepare, whether it's a corporate approved before and after post, whether it's an interactive post that you can do on Facebook and even on your Instagram stories. So if it's like today, like name your giveaway for your host to post, those are things that you can prepare for ahead of time so that you're not struggling and like looking to find them on a day-to-day basis. So those are things that I provide ahead of time. On Facebook, obviously, we talk about the product so much more often on our wall. So I do provide captions for that as well. So I will post like the keto coffee in a caption and a picture to go along with it. And then I give them that idea. And then the team knows that they can either use that or they can go ahead and create their own. But the concept is that they need to be posting. So this also helps with our newbies because as we're enrolling newbies every single day, then they need ideas as to what they need to post. Sorry, my son just woke up. They need ideas as to what they need to post. So those are things that we have organized so everybody can have just that idea of what exactly they need to have. So we also have something on Fridays for new distributors, our new distributor training. It's a collaboration between myself and a couple other diamond leaders and diamond and double, and we go and we post we train our newbies every single Friday so that when Sunday comes around, they have that idea. Okay, so when they were talking about posting, this is what they must be talking about. And I do it again in both English and Spanish just because our team is bilingual, but those are things that you can do ahead of time. Personal stories, like if they want to talk about like number 2, make a post about your personal story, past, present, future blessings. Those are things that you could do on the weekend because you're most inspired. Maybe like, for example, for myself, the weekends is when my husband is completely off. So I feel more inspired because I'm like, yeah, like I would love for him to be home. Those are the things that I think about. Plus, as a mom, I'm not always pretty during the week. So during the weekends, I do prep pictures. I get dressed up. I change outfits. I change accessories. I change all those things to prepare my content for the week as well. I take pictures of my kids outside. I just prepare that content ahead of time. That's kind of like what I used to do anyways. And when I first started, because we were posting so much 3 years ago. So those are things that I kind of brought back and then just prepared them in an easier content, easier thread. And the rest of my leaders contribute to that as well. So they find an interactive post that someone else posted this week that I haven't come across, they will post it for next week. So that way we're not all posting the same thing every single day either.
That's so good. So I kind of do that already. So it would just be like literally getting my team involved with that. So that sounds awesome. Totally want to do that. And I mean, whenever I'm looking at this KPI list, like most of the stuff is so quick. Like go to your friends list, pick 25 people, like and comment on their stuff. We can't plan for that ahead of time. You just do it. And how long does that really take? Not that long. And then, follow people and then comment on their stuff. Like those are such simple things. So I think the part that people get hung up on, if I had to guess, is that they are spending most of their time that they have. Like, okay, let's say you have a 45-minute chunk of time and you're like, this is all the time I have to work my business. I would be willing to bet you spend about 40 minutes of that coming up with a post or trying to take a cute picture with freaking content to post. You're like, now how do I edit it? Like, and then you're like, well, I have 5 minutes left of what am I going to do? And I didn't do any host to post and I have 0 self-development done. Amen? Yeah. Okay. So whenever y'all think that I work 24/7 because you're like, oh my gosh, like you do your 6 list every single day. No, it's because I do most of it and set it up ahead of time. So work smarter, not harder. Today, when I posted the thing that I posted about me and my husband, I wrote that before our retreat. But I posted it today with a picture we took in the Grand Canyon. How long did that take me? Today, it took me about 10 seconds. But the day I wrote it, I spent a little bit extra time because that day I had time. Today I did not. but I still got my post up because I know it's important. And so I love that you do that with your team. And I think that that's such a good idea. And I don't know why I never thought about that, but that's why I love collaborating with other top leaders, because it's like, that is so obvious. We should have been doing that. And I don't know why we did it. But okay. So what are some of the things that, like, what are the ways that you do some of these things? So I'm going to have you break down a couple of different ones. Like, obviously, like, we have a lot of new people on here because of all the kit deals we've been having and just so many newbies. So some of them may have zero clue what some of this stuff means. So will you just quick go bullet by bullet? Besides the posting, we kind of talked about that a little bit, and we'll give them some help with that. But will you kind of go through how to do each one of these? And I'll put it back up on the screen if y'all want to take a quick picture. That'll be your KPI list. You can take a picture. That way you can kind of go through this, because I'm not going to share it the whole time she's talking. So that way you can go through it while she talks.
Yeah, so there's 10 steps in total. I actually have it right here so I can name it. The first one is show yourself making or using a product. That's super easy. You can do it first thing in the morning. I mean, normally you can just kind of record yourself preparing your coffee, drinking your celery. Maybe it's a different drink that you drink in the morning, but I usually do it in the morning, and sometimes up to 2 times a day, because if I'm making my coffee in the morning and at night I'm making my sleepy tea, or if I'm drinking super reds or anything like that, that's super easy. And you can also pre-plan that as well, because if you have a previously recorded video of yourself preparing a drink, then you can just change the filter on it, or you can add extra stuff on it on over, add stickers, anything like that to make it like a different day. So those are things that you can kind of have set aside. For number 2, make a post about your personal story. That's like easy. You can pre-plan it. You can get inspiration from another leader and have that ready for a Sunday night as well, so that you have it for the week. That's what I do. Number 3, number 4, and number 8. I kind of do all together, and I actually added an extra one. It's not on the list, but I interact, I follow and I unfollow all at the same time. So I personally have worked Instagram pretty much my entire business. I started working Facebook just last week. So like I've just built my business off of Instagram. But the reason I started Facebook is because this daily task list, this KPI list, has allowed me to free up so much more time to add another platform. And it's not as difficult as what I thought. I was so much more intimidated with Facebook. I actually have been getting like great results on Facebook, post to post, and I've been reaching out to other leaders. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Like, how do I work with this just on Facebook? So I've been also learning a new platform as if I was a complete newbie while I'm still doing my daily task list for everything else. So on Instagram, which I can talk a little bit more about just because it's my strength, with number 4, I click on following, and then I can see who I followed recently and see if they're following me back. If they're not, I unfollow there, or if I want them to follow me back, I will like their pictures and comment on a couple of them just to get them to initiate them following me back. So that's how I kind of clean it out, since I don't really use a third-party app to unfollow. Sharing someone's corporate approved pictures, I do it on Facebook, and then I do it on Instagram on my story. I am sharing tons of corporate approved before and after pictures between myself when I'm posting a picture or a video. Number 1, I'll post a picture of my before and after picture on my video. So that makes it super easy, or I'll just upload a corporate before and after picture on my story with a pretty background. Number 6, messaging 10 people about the customer option. I do use cold messaging, and I've always done 50-50. I've done cold messaging and host to post for all of my enrollment. So my cold messaging is super simple, super casual, and I just simply ask them if they would be interested in more information on my products. So I let them know, like, I've seen that I might message some people who have seen my stories. I'll like swipe up, see who's messaged, and I'll say like, hey girl, I saw that you saw a couple of my stories. Are you by chance interested, or know someone who would be interested? And then that kind of like breaks the ice. So it's not like buy from me kind of thing. Number 7, message 20 people about the opportunity. Same thing. I usually always present the opportunity anyways when I'm host to posting. So that makes it easy if I'm doing both at the same time. I end up doing this list multiple times because I incorporate it in different formats. So whether it's cold messaging, I'm messaging about the opportunity, or if I'm host to posting, which is step number 8, messaging about host to post, then I can always incorporate asking them if they have ever thought about doing what I do, which makes it easier as well. I kind of throw it in there. Number 9, posting stories on IG and Facebook about coffee samples. I have a photo album with just pictures of the Skinny Brew samples. That way I can just put them up. But I also offer samples when I'm host to posting. If someone has turned down the business opportunity or product opportunity, I just say that I have samples if they're interested in purchasing some. And then number 10 is posting 10 haps 6 out of 7 days per week. So that probably would be the one that I struggled with the most, because I was sending out messages and I wasn't getting the response that I wanted when asking someone to post up a host to post. So what I did that I've seen a lot more success recently, and it's probably because since a lot of us are host to posting, they might be getting a lot of the same messages like, hey, I'm having a giveaway or whatever the reason may be. But the way that I've been getting host to post up is asking them to do me a favor. I just say, hey girl, can I ask you a question? I have a huge favor to ask from you. And then they're like, yeah, what's up? And I say, I'm just trying to like reach out, like expand my business. Would you be willing to put up a post for me and tag me? I get more host to post that way than telling them right away that I have a giveaway. They post for me, they tag me, Instagram stories, and then after I tell them, you know what, girl, I appreciate you so much that I'm going to throw your name in my giveaway this month. It's $200 just because you helped me out. And they're like, oh yeah, like absolutely. Like I love helping other people and stuff like that. So I get a lot more success that way, asking for a favor and then throwing in about the host to post. And now that I'm doing Facebook, that I tell them that I'm going to throw them into the $200 giveaway, I ask them, by the way, do you have Facebook at all? And then they tell me yes or no. And then once they tell me yes, then I say, okay, would you mind putting up a post on Facebook as well and tagging me? And I'll give you an extra entry. And then they post it on Facebook as well. So now I have a double. So if they do Instagram, I give them one. And then if it's Facebook, I give them a completely different one. So that way it's 2 host to post working at the same time. So that's pretty much what I do for each task. As far as myself, I try to go through them at least once. Some of them I do a lot more than others, but once is like my goal every single day. And then some of them are just easier than others. So since my work time is usually nap time, I usually do it around nap. And then at night, I work from 10 to midnight. So that's when I really get to the messages that I've sent in the middle of the day and the host to post that I've been getting up. I get to answer most of the questions at night before going to bed. And that's kind of like my cycle every single day. As far as the weekly check-ins with my team, I just, depending on the day they tell me that works best for them, I go through, which was the upline KPI tracker that you showed, and I try to see where they need help with. They tell me they're struggling with host to post or a message, or maybe they're struggling with taking the time to like figure out when and where to do each task throughout their day. So if you haven't done an hourly calendar, especially for people who say they're very busy, I highly suggest that you get an hourly planner, because then you can see where your gaps are in your day. Because sometimes we do block scheduling and we give ourselves way too much time on a certain task, when in reality, we do have pockets of time that we can utilize for these daily task lists, which only take a couple minutes to do. So that would be like my biggest tip with being able to use the daily task list. But it does save you so much more time. I actually asked a couple of my girls on my team to give me their feedback with KPIs, and we have like 3 of them that just mentioned like that they just have that business clarity with it. That was my Emerald leader, Misha. Antoinette like mentioned that she's less overwhelmed, has time management, and then Nicole mentioned that it keeps her structured and gives her the stepping stone to guarantee success. And our team has literally been rocking it. August was very hard, but September has been insane with our enrollments. Like we've just been, because of KPIs, because everybody's just being so much more intentional with their time.
I love that. And you didn't say like we're spending more time. not necessarily, you're just saying like we're more intentional with the time that we do have. And so imagine if you took the same amount of time but you got way more accomplished, how much further your business would be. And I think that that's what we're trying to explain to you, is that we're not asking you to work this business 24/7 or 25/8. Okay, we're saying take the time that you do have, and you have more of it than you think you do, and spend it intentionally. Think of the things that you can do every single day to grow your business. Use this KPI checklist. Hold yourself accountable, because a lot of y'all, this is why I think that there's a lot of people who feel like they're not getting their stuff done, is because they don't really know what to do, because they won't hold themselves accountable to writing out their list every single day of tasks to mark off. But with this KPI, it's already written out for you. You just mark it off as you finish it. And if you're not marking it off, you're not getting it done. And that's going to be a blaring like red flag in your face saying, hey, every single day I'm missing this one thing and I'm still not doing this one thing. And so I think that's gold. And I think a lot of our leaders on here struggle with like, how do I lead my team? Like, how do I make sure that they're doing all of the things? While using that upline KPI tracker to see what your team is doing is going to be gold for you to be able to say, okay, here's step number 1. How is, this thing going? And making sure that they're getting all those things done. And if they're not, is it because they don't have time, or is it because they don't know how? Then we can game plan from there. Okay, so all of this is available to y'all on your eSuite. So please, please, please print these out. So the next thing I want to talk about really quick is the consistency. So you talked a little bit about this already, but how has it helped you and your team stay consistent, and what is the importance of consistency? And even like, I guess to piggyback off of that, like you said, August was really hard for you. So did you start the KPI tracker and see success within like 3 days? And I'm asking that because I don't want people to get discouraged if they don't, but like if you really did see success in 3 days, be honest about that and be like, dude, like it literally didn't take long of me doing the right things. Like genuinely, what did that look like for you?
So I actually have it broken down. I am very analytical when it comes to this stuff. And I can honestly tell you personally, August was a crappy month. And I'm very open about that. And our team was too. Like our team as a whole, it was just a sucky month. So we said we were going to leave that behind, and we were going to start September with being intentional, with a new plan, and we were going to create our own momentum. So within the first, I would say, I think this was like the first 5 days, as a team, we had already brought in close to 2,000 in volume in the first 5 days. To some, that might not mean a lot, but to our team, it was like just the first stepping stone with the KPI tracker. I know we had the distributor enrollment early on in September. I believe I had enrolled about 5 distributors with the KPIs, because I was like messaging, I was doing all the things as many times as I could, because I wanted to take advantage of the KPIs and the deal that we had at the time. So with the KPIs alone, that's what I was like focusing on too. Then the consistency, staying with it, our team's volume just kept increasing every single day, and like we have had an enrollment every single day. So I took the volume that we had the first half of the month, and then I ended up kind of creating a challenge for our team and bringing in 600 BV every single day from the 15th forward. I set it for them on Friday. I said, okay, guys, we're going to bring in 600 BV today, not knowing how it was going to be, how the team was going to respond. My team is very hyped. They're very excited. We like piggyback off of each other's excitement, which is really like, for me, like I love seeing how they get really involved and leading from the front, because all of my leaders are very good with that. So them showing their teams how to do KPIs, answering their questions, explaining each aspect. If somebody had a question about posting or about where to get before and after pictures for our newbies and stuff like that. So that Friday, we ended up bringing close to 1,200 in volume just that day. So they were just so excited with it. And we've just continued with the same goal every single single day with bringing in this volume. So giving them that clear direction. And because of the KPIs, it just makes it so much more easier for them to do so, because they're creating potentials every day as well, between having the conversations by the messaging, or at least providing the before and after pictures and posting on their stories. They've seen like their growth in their business. And KPIs are fun, you guys. Like, if you make it fun, you challenge yourself, how many I can do a day. I know I needed something new, fun and exciting. I've been in it for a while, so I needed something that was a little bit different. So I wanted to try it out to see how it would work for me. Just like when Host to Post came out, I tried it out just to see how it would work for me, and it ended up being something incredible. And you're hearing so many success stories from KPI, so it's obviously working. So the consistency, I feel like I actually have a little post here on my desk about consistency, because it's something that I've always struggled with. I've always used the excuse of like, okay, like my kids and my life and everything, but KPIs help you out with that. And it helps you, like I have here that it mentioned, like you're focused on the outcome rather than the process. And the KPIs help you with that process aspect of it. Like, yes, the outcome will come with the process. So figuring out, okay, what is it that you want? What rank do you want? And the sheet tells you up at the right-hand corner, what rank do you want to complete, or what rank do you want to shoot for? And then the KPIs are those steps that are going to help you with getting to that rank that you want. And I feel like it just calls you out. Like, I feel like when I saw myself, like I could say, oh yeah, I'm definitely posting and messaging and getting Host to Post up. But when you start marking it down and realizing what you're really not doing, that's why you're struggling in your business. So that's like setting that bar higher. So if it's easy for you to post up 10 Host to Post, then make it a little bit harder or challenging for you, something that obviously is reachable or like attainable, but you want to challenge yourself in the business. So complete that, get 50 Host to Post up a day if it's something that you're capable of doing on a good day. So the KPIs, I just feel like I also compare it to, like, again, like working out. Like, every single step is like a different exercise routine to getting your ultimate goal. So the KPIs are just going to help you. You can't just do one rep, because you're not going to get those results. You have to implement all of it in order to get the end result that you want.
That's so good. Yeah, because you don't go to the gym one time and then weigh yourself. And if you do, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So you have to be consistent with that. And that's with anything that you do. So doing the KPIs, guys, that's going to keep you consistent. And it's not only going to keep you consistent, but I truly think that this is what's going to help so many of you who are like, I want duplication in my team. Well, then you start doing the KPI checklist, and your team is going to follow suit. And so a lot of the time, whenever we're doing our sixth list, we might miss some of the things that are on the KPI checklist, and maybe that thing is the missing link to what you've been doing and where you want to go, right? Anybody else feel that? Put a 2 in the chat if you're like, yes, I really think this is going to help me fill in that gap, right? So Natalie. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So how do you set up your KPI for the week? So we talked a little bit about that already, and like all of your posting and stuff. So you said that you put all of this stuff. Is this a new thread each week?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just like label it like with the week, like the 21st through the whatever, and you kind of do it like that?
So let me show you, I'll log in real quick to my Spanish one because it's just easier. Our team as a whole, we have our entire training through an app called Band. But my Spanish speaking distributors, we have it on a Facebook group. So I honestly, what I do is I just post like a thread like this. And it's just a picture, and it says what to post for the week of 9/20. And then in the comment section, I just post like captions, and then I post like pictures that they could use before and afters. I do like interactive posts as well. If they're going to post like a product post, those are things that they can use for inspiration. Everybody knows, like, obviously not to use just scripts and copy and paste it. They can make it their own as well. And that way they get the idea of what they need to do. And again, it helps so much when you have new distributors that are enrolling, because it gives them that example. So even if it's a new distributor training a new distributor, sorry, my son is like, are you comfortable, babe? Even if it's a new distributor training a new distributor, it gives them that example. Okay, you need to be posting. This is how it works on Facebook. This is how it works on Instagram. So I post example of stories as well. And in my English content, it's exactly the same. Like I just do the same interactive posts, things that they can get ahead of time. I can't give them the inspiration for their personal posts. I can give them examples. We do have a thread for like the first post inspirations, but I do want them to create their own content with that as well. But that's how I plan. Like I personally, again, prep my pictures ahead of time. I have a couple saved already. And then I also like just change my outfits accordingly as well. So that way I can have a couple to choose from.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, do you know your color personality?
Yeah, I actually just took it again because we are doing a push this last week with a couple other triple diamonds. I feel like it changes all the time, but now I am primary red. My secondary is green. I used to be green first and then yellow, red second.
I was gonna ask if you were a green yellow because that's what you seem to me. But the reason why I was asking is because we have a little bit of extra time and I wanted to talk about the mindset behind this because I really do think like this business is 90% or people say 80% like, you know, self-development mindset, 20% work ethic, even 90-10. Like you have to have the right mindset and you have to have the right belief coupled with the action. Okay, so I think as a leader, we would be doing you a disservice if all we did this whole entire time is talk about what you need to do without talking about the belief that you have to couple with it. You have to be a dreamer and a doer. You can't have one without the other. You can't just be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a triple diamond one day. When's the last time you did your KPIs? What's today? Like, no, no, you're not going to get there. Okay. But if we said like, if you're the hardest worker and you do all these things, but you have no idea where you're going, nobody's going to follow you because they want to follow somebody that knows where you're going. And if you have no direction, how are you going to get there? Okay. So you have to have both. The reason why I asked about your color personality is because you did strike me as like a green yellow, which you used to be. So you can definitely relate to the yellow aspect more than I can. I've never tested yellow in my life. 7% yellow right here. So with that, like I always try to explain to my yellows who come to me with concerns about asking people to host a post for them or bugging people with cold messaging and you know feeling like that they don't have a story to tell because they haven't made any money yet and they don't want to seem dishonest. While I get all of those, you know, concerns and they're valid, like whatever, I explain it and I do understand where they're coming from, although that's not at all how I am and I don't think that way. So will you come from a yellow perspective first and then I can come from a red perspective too to kind of help people who are red lead the yellows who feel this way? Will you talk to the yellows, the ones who and if you don't know your color personality, guys, I'm talking about a yellow and that's somebody that is very nurturing. You care a lot about other people. You love to help other people. You're a really, really hard worker, but you don't always take the initiative. You sometimes wait for people to tell you what to do. Then you're all in and more than happy to do it and you do it really well, but you wouldn't necessarily think about it on your own. Some of the you don't have to be shy at all to be a yellow. So some of you are like, well, I think that I do all that, but like I'm very outgoing. You can be outgoing. So you're not like super meek by any means, but you could be. So that's a yellow. So if you feel like that identifies with you and you feel like you struggle with how other people might perceive you or you're nervous to message people because you don't want to get on their nerves or hurt their feelings, that's probably you. So I want you to talk a little bit to them for a second.
Yeah, so on our team, we are very big on colors. We actually just had a training this past Monday about all colors. Our leaders went and explained every single color there is, but our team is also very big on secondary color. So we believe that although your primary color is dominant, you are capable of incorporating stuff from your secondary color to push you out of your comfort zone. So for my yellows, having that secondary color and reading on it as well can help you see what you truly are capable of doing and pushing yourself slightly out of your comfort zone. I started this business out as a yellow. The red came because of promoting and just through the months, and I feel like I'm red now because I'm in this promotion mindset that I'm just like, okay, we need to kind of push. So but I, when it comes to my yellows and the daily task list, of course there are some of them that are very out there, like the messaging and the asking of the host to post and stuff. But I feel like also with our team we have work zooms during the day, so we have work zooms scheduled all week long. Different leaders have different times, different colored personalities. We have the daily task list available. If someone wants a guided work Zoom, they have it available to them. They'll have it like putting it in the comments section and stuff like that. So that way they can do it on their own. I have like, it's kind of crazy because like obviously the leaders attract certain colors. So I have an entire yellow side, and they just make their own type of like, they show their personality through these tasks. So we're not asking you to stop being who you are with your yellow personality. So if you are more private in certain areas, like maybe life posts are a little bit more scarier for you. Like I know for me, I was always petrified of like talking about dollar amounts, which thank God we have FTC guidelines, because that was always like, I get so nervous about that. And I never want to seem like materialistic or anything like that. But something that has always helped me is talking about what it's done for me, not money wise, what it's done for me, for my family, what it's done for me time wise. That has helped me so much with the daily task list as well. And it continues to do so. And with the accountability aspect of it, because sometimes as yellows, we don't tend to be as consistent, or we shy our way from doing some of the tasks on the list. I think for me, I just did it anyways. I knew that once I did it, I was going to get the results that I wanted, and I couldn't complain if I wasn't seeing the results because I wasn't doing the tasks that needed to be done. So that's where my secondary color came into play, because I'm like, you know what, like I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and so what, like so what if it doesn't, like if it's completely out of my comfort zone. And I learned from my girls on my team. So I have girls that are like, when we were doing parties and stuff, that they would challenge us to do like belly to belly and stuff. And that was way out of my comfort zone for myself. I would like hyperventilate, and like, I can't do that kind of stuff. But it's like little things like being open to the change and being open to trying it out just to see the results that you can get. Like this is your path to promoting. This is your path to making that paycheck that you want. You want to be a diamond, double, triple diamond paycheck. Like these are the tasks that are going to take you to that rank that you want. So I think that's like pretty much all. I'm like, I don't like what else I could say for the yellows, but except being open to trying something new, even if it scares you, because you're just going to stay scared and with the same type of paycheck you're getting right now, knowing that this list could potentially double or triple your income.
I love that. You said, like, who cares if you're scared? Just do it anyways. And you said it in a much more soft way than I would have said it. I'm like, bro, just do it anyways. Who cares? Like, just do it. So as somebody, I wanted her to speak first, because as somebody who gets what you're going through, and not only gets it, but has been in your shoes, I wanted you to hear from her that it's okay. And I wanted you to hear from someone who is on the other side of that, who had the same fears, but did it anyways. And look how it's paid off for her. Triple diamond, top 200 income earner. Like, we found each other in a focus group chat that corporate made for like the top of the top of the top people in the company, and she's in it, and she was scared
Actually, I
too.
was gonna say real quick, I'm actually not a 200 income earner. I was in there as a mover and shaker, so that's a little bit different. But I did earn a spot in that focus group because of how our volume and everything increased. So you can still be surrounded by top leaders as a mover and shaker. So I just wanted to put that out there just in case, like I'm not a 200 income earner, but I did earn a spot in there.
I'm just claiming it over you. You know what? You're gonna be. I'm just receive it. I'm speaking it over you. I love it. But yeah, so this is what happens when you just do it anyways. It's not because she waited till she wasn't afraid. It was because she just did it afraid. Okay. I was talking to Carly Middleton this week, and she was like, I put on my dream board to be fearless. And I want to take it off because since I wrote to be fearless on my dream board through my self-development, I've learned that it's not about being fearless. It's about having the fear and just doing it anyways. And I was like, man, that's good. Like, that's so good, because so often we wait till we're not afraid, and it's never going to happen. You're never not going to not be afraid until you do it and then realize, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of. Right? Like, you only knew that the big slide at recess wasn't scary once you slid down it, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I'm not afraid. I'm going to go do it again. Right? And that sounds like a silly analogy, but this isn't just isolated to this business. This started back whenever you were like 3. Okay? So that's something that I wanted to talk about. But guys, I was talking to another girl. She's newer, and she's on here because I saw her put something in the chat. She's newer on here. And she was talking about, like, you know, the fears that we just talked about. She was worried that people might get upset with her for messaging them, or that she'd get on people's nerves, or that people wouldn't want to post for her. And that's not, I mean, that's okay. Like, it's okay to have those fears, but what do we do with them? And one thing I encouraged her is what I want to encourage you, if you're still struggling with that, is just to realize that there are people out there right now at this very moment going to bed, not being able to fall asleep because they have kids in the other room next to them that they don't know how they're going to feed tomorrow. But you're too scared to put something on social media. And you're too, I'm just going to say it because I love you, selfish, not to share it with them. And I only say that because I know that yellows are the most selfless people. But in being afraid, we sometimes let that rule and dictate the things that we do or don't do, and it can come across as selfish, even though that's the absolute biggest thing you're trying to avoid, right? And so I'm not saying you're a selfish person. I'm saying that it's selfish not to share what we know can heal other people's lives, that can change other people's lives, okay? I have people who I've talked to about the products, and I have just, on days I didn't want to message, and for sure it wasn't because I was scared what they thought about me. I'm just going to say that. But I didn't want to. I didn't feel like it because this business doesn't always feel good. You don't always want to do your KPIs, right? But you do it anyways. And I sent the messages. And this girl, I offered her a bunch of the products, kind of like what she was talking about earlier, where you just message them and say, you know, would this be for you? Whatever. I messaged her, and she told me that she was interested in the weight loss, and she said, it's so crazy that you messaged me today because we just got back from a doctor's appointment. We've been trying to conceive a baby for years, and we haven't been able to. And my doctor said that if I lose like X amount of weight, we'll have X amount of percentage more likely to conceive a child. So I'm looking to lose weight. If you had messaged me this yesterday, I wouldn't have thought twice about it, but I am so ready to do this. Sign me up. How do I do it? And that's an example of a time when I sent a message that I didn't want to send, and it literally was something that someone was praying for. So how selfish of me not to have sent that message. If we had the cure to cancer or to COVID and we didn't share it with other people, you'd feel selfish, right? While we don't have the answers to either of those things, what I'm saying is that we have the answer to people being in debt. We have the answer to people being depressed and having this anxiety. And I have anxiety, so I can speak on this, where I don't have that anxiety anymore for how I'm going to pay my bills. I have other anxieties, but it's not about how I'm going to pay my bills. That's one thing I don't have to worry about or stress out about anymore. And that's because of this business. And I'm really thankful that somebody didn't give up on me. I'm really thankful that Savannah, who enrolled me, kept posting about the wraps back in 2014, that she didn't let me not liking or commenting on her first 2 posts, that she still posted a 3rd one, because that was the one that changed my life. And so how many posts is it going to take for you to make to change somebody's life? For a Morgan or a Saray to come into your business, it changes your business. But don't be too selfish or too scared of what people might think about you, because I would much rather go change somebody's life than to let the 1 or 2 wackos in the world who just are sad about their own life in general to ruin it for the people who do need this. So that's why I don't listen to the opinions of the 1 or the 2, because my focus is on the ones who are looking for this, the ones who do need this, because they're out there. There are 127 of you still on this Zoom. That's 127 people who at one time needed this opportunity enough that we are thankful that somebody posted about it. Amen? We're thankful that somebody reached out to us. We're thankful that someone followed up. Put a 3 in the chat if you're thankful that somebody sent you a message that day. If somebody sent you a follow-up message, if somebody posted. Because we wouldn't be here if they didn't. Don't be the person that holds that back. And I'm not saying that God can't work in their life if you don't post. I'm saying you would much rather him work through you than to have to work in spite of you. Okay? Because he wants you to be the vehicle that blesses somebody's life. But whenever we aren't obedient to do the things and live with integrity, to do the things we've promised to do, knowing that God put this business in our life, that we have to share it with other people so that we can be good stewards of the gift that he's given us, and then we don't go do that thing, he says, I was going to let you be the one who was going to change so-and-so's life. But you wouldn't be obedient to the things I've called you to do, so I'm going to work in spite of you, and somebody else will change their life. Because he's not going to be limited by us, but we want him to work through us. Okay, I didn't mean to preach. But anyways, make sure that you're messaging. Make sure that you're posting. It's so important, guys, and we don't have time to waste, okay? Because there's other people who are messaging them too, and we want to be the one who changes their life. So be consistent. We have like 3 minutes. So I'm going to let you close this out with just like one last little tip or call to action or woohoo, hoorah, let's do this. Whatever you got for us, go ahead and give it to us.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit about what you mentioned right now about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you guys. And I'm going to just speak from personal testimony. I didn't work Facebook because I was scared about what my friends and family were going to say. Just honest. And my team knows this. 3 years, the month that I pushed for triple, those last 5 days that I needed 6,000 in volume, and I still wasn't even charted for triple. I ripped the Band-Aid and I started working Facebook. I reached out to all my friends and family, even the ones that I thought were going to make fun of me. And what they ended up doing was helping me. I had the most host-to-post I had ever had on Facebook ever, because obviously I never worked a day of life on Facebook, like maybe sporadic, like here and there. And that was the reason why I promoted triple, because my friends and family ended up helping me out. I had over, I don't even know, it was like over 25 to 30 customers within those last couple of days. We brought in all of that volume needed, brought in that last distributor, second to last day of the month. And all I kept saying was just thank you to my friends and family. I went on Facebook and was like, thank you so much. This wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Like, I was so scared of using Facebook because of what you guys were going to say, and here you guys helping me out. And all of them were like, we're here for you and everything. So there are going to be fears that are going to like stop you from moving forward because of yourself. But until you don't, like, you have no idea. Like, you took the first step to start this business anyways. That was probably one of your biggest fears was just signing up, and you did it. Like, just imagine everything else you can accomplish if you're not holding yourself back. Like, everything you can have if you're not holding yourself back. And so, like, with the KPIs, it just makes it so much more simpler for you. Like, now you can really determine what are those areas that you struggle with the most, and be vulnerable about it. Ask your upline, ask your enroller, and just tell them, look, this task right here is just like, so it makes me so uneasy. Like, it's so hard for me. And then you can start looking for other ways that can help you, like other leaders, how they do it, how they go about it. There's so many other people with the same colored personality as you, and they're probably a triple and above as well that has the same colored personality as you, and how they overcame that specific thing that is making you uncomfortable. So push yourself. There's like 9 days left in the month. Like, don't count yourself out. Like, there is so much more time, so much time left for you to be able to promote and implement these KPIs to see how it transforms your business, because it's been so good for our team. So that would be my little last bit.
Wow, thank you so much. This is absolutely amazing. I don't even know what number we're on. Put a 1 in the chat if you learned something